Hello and welcome to this video, and this is going to be a new thing for me because on this video I am going to do my first book review, and I'm going to be reviewing this book, and it's by the legend that is Shane Embury. It's his autobiography and it's called Life ? And Napalm Death. You get it? Life and Death, Life ? And Napalm Death. But you know, me sat here in my lovely little, studio in my garden with my Shirley Bassey albums and my jazz albums, it doesn't seem the right place to review such a book. So, do you fancy a change of scenery? Okay, I think let's go somewhere else. Let's go somewhere a little bit more metal to do this review. So, if we all concentrate and think metal, and hopefully it will transport me to somewhere far more darker. 1, 2, 3. Hello, welcome to this video, and as you can see I'm not in my studio and I'm actually holding this camera with my hand, so it's all going to be a bit wobbly. You may be wondering where I am. Well, firstly, I'm with my esteemed drum tech of about 20 years. Here's Justin here. Say hello, Justin. He's filming me, filming him.
How are you doing?
And I am also with a legendary musician that I'm so happy and pleased to actually get on my channel. I would like to introduce you all to Mr. Shane Embury from Napalm Death. Hello, Shane.
Hey, how you doing? Hello.
How are you, matey?
I'm alright. I'm just finally got some copies of my book, which is coming out on October the 15th. And so yeah, I'm going to do this box opening thing. Is what they
Yeah, that's what they do on YouTube nowadays, isn't it?
My son tends to watch lots of things being opened in boxes and
boxes. So I've come up to meet Shane for the first time, which has been a real honour to meet such a important musician in the history of prog and metal over the last 50, 60, 70 years or whatever, and he's just had this box arrive. Is this your autobiography?
Yeah, strangely enough. Somebody commissioned me to write a book on myself. So
and did you actually write it, or was it ghost written?
Well, what I did is my good friend Dave Everly, journalist, for many magazines, posed the questions to me to jog my memory.
Did the memory need jogging?
You know what? I think I might have been somehow preparing for this very thing all my life in some ways. Because I remember this, but I can't remember what happened to me last week. But here we go. Let's see.
So this is the first time you've seen
the actual book itself. So let's just see how we get on with opening it up, which seems.
For those, while Shane's trying to open it with this little penknife that I'm very impressed that he's got such a useful tool on him.
It's Justin's beautiful.
Oh, is it? Of course it is Justin. I should have known that. Just we are actually in the Napalm Death abode. We've got all sorts of incredible artwork. We got. What's that Mortal Kombat thing up there?
That is when we got the guy who worked for Columbia.
Yeah.
Basically got us on the soundtrack, which strangely enough sold over 1 million copies, which is unusual for a game soundtrack.
1 million?
So we got one of those nice little discs, which is quite nice, to be honest. Which is pretty good, so there we go. I think I can open this now.
You're going to keep that there just in case.
So yeah, here we go. And that's that, which I haven't seen this yet, so quite surreal. If ever there's an experience, well, here we go.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. That is absolutely, and you might not be able to see on the camera, but that's red and shiny, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there might be 2 different versions, but this is, or maybe not, I don't know. But that's very, I don't know how to describe that.
Have you ever had this experience before?
No. I mean, obviously my memory has remain reasonably intact for this very occasion.
So when did it start? Right with your birth, or? It
starts going back to Broseley, Shropshire, where I was born. Watching Top of the Pops. All that I loved was the theme tune, so that was the guitar. I loved the guitar sound. Slade were popular, so I saw that crazy guitar and the crazy drum kit, and I said I want to do that. That's what I want to do. But there we go, guys. Look at that.
Super, that is lovely. Yeah.
While I'm here quickly, I'm going to say something that on October 11th, I'm going to be at Rough Trade East in London doing a little book signing. And also I'm going to be in Nottingham at Rough Trade on October the 17th. So if you want to come down and we'll talk about maybe metal and your favourite curry.
What is your favourite curry?
Good chicken Rogan Josh. Absolutely. It's a great one. Or Joe Fraser.
The old chicken Joe Frazier.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks for that, Shane.
Thank you.
Nice one. Right.
So that was the legend Shane Embury on my channel. Can you believe it? Can you believe it, YouTube Andy Edwards followers? It's absolutely incredible. Lovely. Now we're going to try and see if I can blag a free copy out of him.
Yeah, you can.
Lovely. Cheers, matey. So that was me meeting the legend for Shane Embury. If you want to know what my link is to Napalm Death, my drum tech Justin Scott, who's been a tech for me for many, many years, is also the drum tech for Danny Herrera from Napalm Death. And because of that, I have a link. And we had a little trip out today. You saw Justin in the video to go and see Shane and Danny. Whilst we were there, his new book release arrived, and I was like, let's film you opening it, because this is a very cool thing to do nowadays on YouTube. Is unboxing. So you just saw the unboxing of Shane's latest book and his first book. I don't think he's done any others, but although I think he was chatting to me about a plan to perhaps get into writing children's stories, but he may have been pulling my leg when he said that. Anyway, I have a copy of the book here. Now, I've got to be honest, I haven't read the whole thing. I've had a good read through the first chapter and had a scan through. This is a fantastic book. Napalm Death occupy a very special place in the history of music for me. As I've said many times before, I began life as a metaler with a new wave of British heavy metal. I then discovered bands like Angel Witch and Venom. And as a young 12-year-old, my interest in music was basically to see how fast and loud and brutal music could be. That was my search, the holy grail of metal. Up the road in Birmingham, there was a bunch of people exactly the same age as me trying to do the same thing, and they achieved it. And by the mid-80s, Napalm Death had really invented the genre of grindcore, which then influences all sorts of metal. This is a really, really important band. And when we list the Birmingham metal bands, you know, of course we have Led Zeppelin, of course we have Black Sabbath, of course we have Judas Priest, but we also have Napalm Death, one of the most important bands of that genre. The longest serving member of that band is Shane. Now, Shane wasn't a founder member, he actually joined the band in 1987. There have been a number of incarnations of Napalm Death. There is, of course, the Napalm Death that was around in the early 80s that all went to school together with the original founding member Mick Harris on drums. This is the band that went to school with the comedian Stuart Lee. And anybody who's watched my channel will know that Stuart Lee has actually been quite an influence on me. And this channel, there is a Stuart Lee-esque aspect to this channel, if you've ever watched it in detail. So, but the band that really, for me, set the standard for sort of brutal, fast, extreme, loud metal was the great incarnation of Napalm Death that featured Shane on bass and Danny on drums. So this book, if you really want to know about that scene, and you really want to track, you know, Shane's upbringing from, you know, being born and brought up in Broseley in Shropshire to moving into Birmingham, you know, sharing a house with the other guys from Napalm Death and basically changing music history forever with all the ins and outs and interests. This is a fantastic book, and the thing I love about it is Shane being the same age as me basically and sharing the same sort of interests. It's very interesting chatting to him today to see how his influences, you know, his interests in things like Hammer horror films, his interest in sort of British thespians, his Christopher Lee, Brian Blessed. I don't know if anyone's seen on my Rain Facebook page. We've had a message from Brian Blessed, so it was quite a shock to end up, finally meeting such legends and end up having a conversation about Brian Blessed, what happened today. But all this is in the book. It really starts off with his interest in bands like Slade. Again, another Midlands band, not Birmingham. They're actually from Bloxwich, if I remember rightly, which is just north of Wolverhampton or east of Wolverhampton. Who knows? We're in the darkest black country there. Who knows where we are? But anyway, for the bits I've read, it's a fascinating read, and I really wanted to just give a shout out for this book. I've sat down, I've read the first chapter, I've had a dip in. It is really an interesting read. It really feels like Shane is talking to you, because of course he is. That was how this book was written. Apparently he went into a room and recorded conversations, and they transcribed those conversations. So this is right from the genius mind and the creative energy, which is Shane Embury. You could probably tell I'm on a little bit of a high at the moment, which is why I wanted to film this now rather than read the whole book and film it later. Well, I could have probably given you a much better evaluation of this book, but I got to be honest, I've just got back. And it was just incredible meeting Danny and Shane. And if you are interested in this scene whatsoever, and also the discussions about prog rock we've just had, incredible. This is the untold story, is the influence of progressive rock on 80s metal, which is then the influence on the whole of metal and everything that all those bands do. It's so fascinating to chart that. We've chatted about Cardiacs, we've chatted about Hawkwind, we've chatted about Gentle Giant. All these bands actually had an effect and influence on these massive monster metal bands in the 80s, 90s, and right up till today. It's a fascinating subject, and if you really want to find out about that axis between progressive rock, the axis between certain films, science fiction books, and all that stuff, and how it created this incredible scene, which is still huge today. But of course, it's all done by people in Pro Tools now, isn't it? It's all done by people with Beat Detective and Superior Drummer, and they're all sat there dialing it. This band were the real deal. This band goes into the studio, they sit face to face, and they play, right? And this is the real deal. Coltrane, Miles, Zeppelin, Jimmy, right? Napalm Death. We're talking the real deal here. So go and check this book out, right? I'll put a link in the link below, and I will finish with a lovely photo taken of me with Shane and Danny Herrera in the abode of metal, the house of Napalm Death. Right, all those of you who have questioned my metal credentials, right, do I now have the badge? Right, can I now claim the I Am Metal badge? I feel like I've, today, I think that's what it is. I think that's why I'm so chirpy. I think I've actually achieved something today that goes right back to the 12-year-old me. I think deep down I'm a metaler, and I've always wanted to, somehow be a part of that. I've never made a metal album in my life. I nearly did a few years ago, and all the Pro Tools and cupping up and re-triggering upset me very greatly, and I decided not to do it. But real metal I love, and I know you love too. Right, so I'm sure this could be a very interesting read. It's also fully illustrated as well. Let's just find where all the pictures are, because the average metal fan, they're not going to want to read a book without pictures. But look, all full colour pictures of Shane's incredible life in one of the most legendary rock bands. Loads of family stuff. This is a personal voyage through Shane's life, and he has had a lot of ups and downs, all sorts of things. There's been deaths in that band, there's been all sorts of things happening. I shall read the blurb before I go. Shane Embury has been a major figure in grindcore grindcore for more than 4 decades, and his story is closely tied to the history of that scene. Live ? And Napalm Death takes the reader on a front seat, white knuckle ride through the sights, sounds, places and people who've been central to the music and the life. I really thought he was going to say a white knuckle ride through the sights, sounds and smells, but of course that's Spinal Tap. Look at that beautiful artwork, it's all shiny, and look how dark and metally that is. Look at the man, I'm on a high. I've met a legend. I've met a legend today and I'm very excited by it. It's brilliant. Anyway, I'm going to go. Here I am. I will finish up with that picture of me in the House of Metal, in the domain of darkness. And if you like this video and you want me to do more of these rubbish book reviews where I don't really review, I just basically gush about how much I love the band, then, you know, like and subscribe. And if you want to support me, go to Patreon. You can just support me there, and you never know, we might have some more Napalm Death and Shane Embury stuff on my Patreon. You never know, but you might not. I'm not promising anything, you know, trade subscription app and all that. And if you don't want to support me on Patreon, pop along to my YouTube tip jar where you can give me money for no reason. Okay, lovely. Shirley, are we done? Are we done, Shirley? Okay, Shirley says we're done. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching, and the next time I do a video, you can watch. And what? I'm too excited. I can never get my words out the best of time. I got my hand on the stop button. I can't stop. Anyway, if you want to see, you know, I'll see you on the next video. Oh God, this is terrible. Sorry, Shane. I've been there around his house boasting about how I'll put this book on YouTube and he'll get a whole bunch of sales off all my lovely viewers on this channel. They'll all rush out and buy it and all that bit. I was only trying to help out a fellow musician, and here I am at the end of it. You know, I'm not prepared, am I? I'm not prepared for this at all. It's absolutely awful. So I do apologise, Shane. Mr. Shane Embury, I do apologise for the absolute amateurishness of this video. But this is what you get when you get involved with a character like me. I'm barely getting my words out. What you're watching is a middle-aged, old metal fan who's just had his mind blown by a proper, you know, real, legendary metal band. And it's touched something deep in me that has been there for over 40 years. So if you love the metal, right, put it in the comments below. Right, if you love the grindcore and the thrash and the deathcore, if you love the darkness, and if you love the terror and the menace and the malicious energy of this cathartic music form that has existed for years and will exist for years, that represents every other person who is not of the mainstream, the music of the outsider, the music that represents all us nerdy, not fitting in, not socially inadequate, you know, little teenage bundles of angst, right? The music that really represents the rage and desperation, but also the lack of confidence and the lack of self-will, all those dark things, and it represents the Jungian shadow in all of us. And it's essential for the health of our society that we have art like this, made by such lovely, gentle people, right? But representing something that we must all face within ourselves. Even Shirley, at times, needs to face the Jungian shadow of darkness and come to terms with the terror and chaos that lies beneath the surface of our lives. That's what metal is, right? And that's why metal is so important, right? It's not cool, it's not trendy, it's a cathartic expression of darkness. Oh, I'm glad I got that out. Anyway, after all that talk, Mr. Elf, shall we go now? Yeah, I always talk to Mr. Elf at times like this. You know, when my Jungian shadow becomes just a bit too Jungian and shadowy, I come in here quietly and I chat with Mr. Elf, and I you know, just get it out of my system. It's very important. Are we done, Mr. Elf? Good. Shall we say bye-bye to the viewers? Bye-bye, viewers. Bye-bye. See you on the next video. Bye.